let's move over to the main event if you want to right now, because I know we have
Yeah.
Harrington pulled up a bunch of stuff on Jon Jones. We wanted to look a little bit more at Jon Jones and his career, because he is, love him or hate him, Jon Jones is polarizing, right? He gets people talking about him no matter what. He is one of the biggest stars in the UFC, and debatably, debatably the most talented fighter to ever fight, period. Right? Fighting. Yeah. We're talking about mixed martial arts. That's fucking fighting. Forget boxing, forget kickboxing, forget anything else. This is as close to fighting as possible. Jon Jones, it's up for debate that he's the best man to ever do it. So, it's a weird...
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
just on that point there, it's up for debate whether or not he's the best to ever do it or not. The only reason you say it's up for debate is because of the asterisks, because of the performance enhancing drugs. But if you want to talk about is he the best to ever do it, if you forget about that for 1 second, in my mind, it's not even a conversation. He's by far the best to ever do it. And he was talking recently about Israel Adesanya, and Ariel, Hawani was asking, because Adesanya is kind of vying for that fight a little bit, and Jones was just like, he was very, very dismissive, and no disrespect to Adesanya, but I understand where Jones is coming from. If you look at the level of competition that he's fought consistently at the highest level, the way he beats them, champion after champion after champion after legend, I mean, you name it. So now he's got to a point where he's taking on guys, and again, no disrespect to these guys, Dominick Reyes, Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, who a lot of them were middleweights, but they don't have the same star power of a Rampage or a Shogun or whatever, because he's took all them out. He took all them out. He did it in style. He's tossed them to the side, and now he's on new blood. And as he said, he's going through generations of fighters inside the UFC at the highest level, right, when the pressure is on in main events and getting the fucking job done. And most of the time, beating them at their own game. When he fought Glover Teixeira, everyone was like, oh, he's got to be careful because Glover's going to get on the inside and use the boxing. Jon Jones said, fuck that, let's stand and trade in the pocket all day long. Let's exchange knees and elbows and dirty boxing up against the fence. And he beat him at his own fucking game. Of course, the reason people don't give him the respect that he is deserved is because of the public perception, because of the scandal, because of the steroids, because of the accidents, the DUIs, all the trouble that he gets himself into. So where do you want to start with all that, Lewis? Because we should talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can just look at his career just in general. But I have a question, because as you're talking about Jon Jones and saying he's the best to ever do it, I wonder, when you watch Jon Jones as a fighter, right? Even when you were active as a fighter, do you ever look at him being like, shit, like he's doing things that other people can't do? Do you recognize that, like as sort of like I'm assuming the way basketball players would look at like a Jordan and be like, shit, he's just like the best. Now that you're not fighting, competing, you'll never cross paths with that guy. Can you sort of look back and ever sort of remembering a moment watching him coming up and being like, holy shit, this guy is something special?
Absolutely. I'm just trying to find it now. UFC 100, he fought Jake O'Brien. And I fought Dan Henderson, and we were in the same locker room. I didn't know Jon Jones from I didn't know him from anyone, So all I saw was this guy, though, in the locker room warming up, and I just thought, fuck me, look at this guy. And he looked like a beast. He did, just like the double legs, the speed, everything he was doing. I was like, fuck me, this guy's got something. And he went out there, UFC 100, and won by a guillotine choke. I think it was the first round, second round, pardon me. And then he just went on a fucking tear. Right, and he fought Matt Hamill, destroyed Matt Hamill as well. Listen, that's the only loss on his record, which is bullshit. He got disqualified. We all know that was bullshit. But Matt Hamill at that time was a tough motherfucker, and he just went on a tear. Brandon Vera was at the top of his game when he fucking destroyed him. Ryan Bader, Shogun, Rampage, Machida, Rashad, Vitor Belfort, Chael Sonnen, Gustafsson, Teixeira, Cormier.
When you rewind for a second during that little era of, Rashad and Machida, and you got to understand, these guys were unfucking beatable. When Jon Jones went in, those were the guys that were like, oh, you just can't beat these guys. Like the way he choked out Machida standing and then just let him go and was like, yeah, I'm the fucking man here. And then walked away. Look, people were like, how rude of Jon Jones. It's a fucking cage fight. I don't give a shit. I mean, at that point, it's fine. He just choked him out. That's probably more brutal than letting him fall onto a canvas.
So So here's the thing, though, to answer your question, what did I think? When I saw him doing that to those opponents, I remember thinking, wow, he's incredible. But then also, and I'm not sure where it comes from, a lot of fighters are like this. You look and you see weaknesses, and a lot of fans do this as well. You know, you see a weakness and you put too much emphasis on that, and you forget about the great stuff that they do. You know, like Lyoto Machida, prior to getting choked unconscious, wobbled him, hit him with a right hand. I think it was a right or a left, as Jones was walking forward, caught him with a good shot because Jones doesn't have the best boxing. And everyone was like, oh, he's hittable. And he was wobbled there off Machida, and Machida could have followed it up and whatnot. If he didn't just get choked out, unconscious, and dropped on the floor like a sack of fucking potatoes. You know what I mean? And it's weird as fans and as analysts and as other fighters, you put too much emphasis on the negative, the little one negative. Oh, he got shot. He was in a world fucking title fight. You're supposed to get hit with a shot here and there. As my old boxing coach used to say, you can't go in the rain without getting wet. You know what I mean? You're going to go in a fight. It's a good chance you're going to get fucking caught with a shot here and there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people would always go like, Jon Jones, he doesn't like getting hit. Well, I mean, nobody likes getting hit. This is why he's pretty good at avoiding it. It's probably he's pretty good at dealing with it when it does happen. I think that maybe, you know what it was? Maybe it's just so rare and Jon's so good that when he does get hit, it seems more impactful. You know what I'm saying? Like other guys, like some of those shots that these, Diego Sanchez, the wars he goes in, he just gets hit 1,000 times a fight. You're not going like, oh, he got. You're like, yeah, of course, it's Diego. He just goes in there for firefights. Jones goes in with a very strategic game plan, and he takes his opponents, very similar to George St. Pierre, takes his opponents out of their strength and implements his strengths against their weaknesses.
The thing with Jon Jones as well, you got to remember, he's got an 84-inch reach. He knows how to use it. He's very, very smart as well. You know, when you listen to him talk, he's not an idiot. He doesn't talk like I do. Waffle, random bullshit out of his mouth. And actually, I'm thinking of the next word as I'm saying the sentence. What am I going to say next? He's composed. He knows what he's going to say. He's a smart guy, and he fights very smart and very cerebral. And he knows he's got very good gifts. He's got a very excellent fight mind. He's got a high IQ. He's got excellent wrestling, tons of experience, beat the best in the world, took out Daniel Cormier twice, asterisk or not. That's not a fucking easy thing to do. But when you look at him, certainly in his last few fights against Gustafsson and not Gustafsson, pardon me, or even not Gustafsson, Thiago Santos and people like that, you look and you think you see someone that's beatable. And the cliche thing that people say is they say, well, you know, he fights to the level of his opponent. When his opponents are better, then he fights better. And that may be true. And so you look and you think, I could beat this guy. And I've thought that. I've thought, yeah, you know, if I was, a bit bigger and I was a true light heavyweight, I reckon I could fucking have a good go here. But it's different. You often think that until you're in there. You know what I mean? And then they're just one step ahead. And the reach is just fucking too much for you, and you can't seem to get on the inside, and you can't seem to land shit because every time you walk forward, you get a teep kick to the leg, or you get a knee or a fucking elbow, and it's grabbing your hands and
or he starts finger fucking your eyeballs.
Well, he does like to finger fucking eyeball here and there. As long as he wears a condom, I don't mind. But you know, but you think you've got this formula to success. But it's not that easy when you're fucking in there. So when you look at him these days, you know, he isn't electrifying the audience like he once did. But the crown is a heavy burden to wear. I mean, look at George St. Pierre towards the end. You know, not the very end, because he did okay there. He got a stoppage in that one. Well, but towards the end, the end.
10% Bisping. I mean, come on.
Let's not go there. But you know what I'm saying? The pressure of being the greatest of all time, the pressure of all the sponsors, the pressure of all that stuff turned him into a more conservative fighter. Not as exciting as what he once was. But if someone's going to bring it and they're going to bring it to him, he's fucking still got that in there.
And I don't even know if that
GSP had it, and Jon Jones has fucking got it.
I don't even know if that he's that much more conservative. It's just we're talking about like he's at the absolute top of the game. It's always a number one contender. It's always the next best guy. There's never a gimme fight. I mean, I think most guys coming up, like, yeah, if Jon Jones could fucking beat Jake O'Brien to this day in any way that he wanted to, Jake O'Brien could have the best training camp of his fucking life. It's just a different level now. And Jon Jones, everyone he competes against, I'm sure that like, you know, it must wear on you mentally as well, where you're like, fuck, dude, I don't want to lose it all. So every fight, you start to go like, shit, it is just a game of numbers. If you're realistic about it, and Jon Jones is a pretty articulate, smart guy, right? We like to bust his balls and talk about how he parties, but the reality is, like, he knows it's a game of numbers. It's any given Sunday he could lose. So that has to sort of like go like, fuck, dude, that pressure when you're on top, you need to stay on top. That's something that very few people in the world will understand.
And not just that, maintaining the discipline that it takes to stay on top. Listen, as you just said, the partying thing, I mean, that kind of like, a lot of people think of the scandals and some of the stuff he should be ashamed of. He certainly should. I'm not giving him a pass. I'm focusing on the fight stuff. I'm not focusing on the hit and runs and all that type of stuff, the DUIs, all that. I'm talking about him as a fighter right now. To maintain that level, right, whilst you're doing all that stuff, is not fucking easy. I'll never forget when he fought Rampage Jackson. Rampage trained in Denver at the Muscle Farm facility at altitude. And he famously said that he spent $1 million on that training camp. I'm not sure how accurate that is. But he certainly was looking good in that training camp. He was knocking people out. He did everything. He left no stone unturned. He had a very scientific approach. And Jones beat him. And beat him soundly. And I'll never forget, I think he choked him out in the 3rd or the 4th round. And I was sat ringside. And I remember Dana White got up from his chair and he's walking past to wrap the belt around him. And he looked at me and he goes, wow, he's the fucking real deal, man. Because he just keeps running through people. Anyway, I'm remiss to say, unfortunately, I'm running out of time. So we're going to get into Dominick Reyes and give a pick real fast because it's not fair. Dominick Reyes, on the flip side, he has got a real challenge here. Dominick Reyes, undefeated. The danger of being undefeated is that your confidence is through the roof. And Dominick Reyes has a very fucking hard left hand. Okay, he punches hard. He's got a good wrestling background. He uses kicks to distract his opponent. He'll kick to the body. He'll kick to the head. He can knock people out going forwards. He can knock people out going backwards. He's the same height as Jon Jones. He is at a disadvantage in the reach department. But, that's not always the be-all and said-all. I think if Jones mixes it up and looks to take him down, that'd be the path to success. But Reyes has shown time and time again, he was a pretty well-decorated high school wrestler. And he's shown in his fights he has got good balance. He's got good scrambling ability. Chris Weidman was able to take him down, and he was able to get back to his feet. I mean, Weidman only got him down for a split second, and then he bounced back up straight away, and then boom, left hand, put him out, folded him like a lawn chair. He does have one-punch knockout power. So this is a dangerous fight for Jon. You don't think?
Not really. I mean, look, the only X factor there is that we've never seen Dominick Reyes beaten. Who knows? Maybe he's the next Jon Jones, right? The best case scenario is that he's the next Jon Jones. He's the next guy that he's fighting right now. That's a fucking big mountain to climb right there. I think that, Chris Weidman, I think he's great. I'm a fan of Chris Weidman. I have been. I'm a New Yorker, so all those Long Island guys, Matt Sarah, Chris Weidman, John Vellante, like I've always liked those guys because they just sort of like remind me of fucking dudes that I knew growing up. But let's get real. Chris Weidman has lost 5 of his last 6. He's a middleweight, at the end of his career. Yep. The fact that Reyes is getting a title shot off this fight, it's a little bit of a tough pill to swallow just in general.
But hold on, I agree with your point. But he's not just getting a title fight because, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, he knocked out Chris Weidman. He beat Volkan Oezdemir. He beat Vincent Prue, knocked out Jared Cannonier. The list goes on. Right, he's undefeated, so obviously that's sellable. That's attractive to the viewer. But in the UFC, how many has it had? 1, 2, 3, 4. He's 6-0 in the UFC, and he's beaten solid competition. So the time is right now. Another side of it, regrettably, is that there's no one left to challenge Jon Jones. And he needs challenges. He's pretty much cleaned out the division. So it makes sense. But I'm telling you, wouldn't it be crazy? Because Jones is on the brink of totally cleaning out the light heavyweight division to where people can say, there's no one left for you to fight. You got to go to heavyweight. And
I think he's already done it.
Could you imagine if he loses this one? This, he's about to go to heavyweight. He's cleaned out the division. He's got fucking massive, life-changing legacy money fights ahead of him. And he gets knocked out against Dominick Reyes. I mean, that is fucking sod's law.
I would be embarrassed too. And the reality is that's not crazy. That could happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I am tempted to put my money on Dominick Reyes because it is such a nice little spread right there. It's a sexy, sexy spread. $200. I ain't going to lose $200, but $200 on a shit date. You know, there we go. He wins. There you go. Big, big money right there. But even if he did lose, luckily, I think Jon Jones could still go and do some incredible things at heavyweight. He could, the angle there, the spin there, and we watched it happen with Conor. Conor lost, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, he could go and say, hey, I was demotivated at 205. I cleaned out the division, young buck, whatever. It wouldn't be the end of the world. It wouldn't be ideal. I like that. Can we clip that, whatever the Bisping dance was?
I'm trying to stop you because, you're right. Can he go there and make money and all the rest? Yeah, of course he can. But the legacy of being able to say, I cleaned out the entire fucking division, multiple generations of fighters, the best they had to offer, champion after champion. I cleaned them out and then I went and cleaned up at fucking heavyweight. That's better than saying I got knocked out in my last light heavyweight fight. Of course they can. Of course you could still do that. But, so here's the thing. We'll start leaning towards a pick. Like, in my mind, I was like, you know what? When I see the last fight against Thiago Santos, and a lot of people thought Thiago Santos, that was a close fight. And Thiago Santos completely blew his leg out in the first round. So when I see that, I think Dominick Reyes can do it. When I see the fight against Thiago Santos, I think Dominick Reyes can do this. He can pull this off. When I see the fight against Anthony Smith, I think he can do this and pull it off. When I see some other fights, I think, no, can he fuck? When I see him the way he took care of Alexander Gustafsson and all the other people, I think, no, Reyes is going to get fucked. But when I see those last couple of fights, I'm like, Reyes might have something. But then do you know what keeps bringing me back to Jones winning? The fact that Jones beat Daniel Cormier 2 occasions. And on one of those occasions, knocked him out, right? And I'm sorry. That's not a fucking easy thing to do. Because I'll tell you right now, if you ask me, you can pick one fighter from the UFC. You're going to be in a fucking serious street fight. You need some fucking backup. You can pick one guy from the UFC. I'd pick DC for sure, all fucking day long. And Jones took him out twice.
I picked Jones.
You know what I'm saying?
In fact, I picked Jones twice.
I'd pick DC. Fuck him.
Well, you need to analyze your data because I will tell you right now, Jones is the guy to pick.
On the street, it is not a mixed martial arts.
He's going to have some
content.
good coke. He's going to fucking, afterwards, you're going to go celebrate. You're going to go to a strip club. It's going to be a good time, bro.
I hear the argument. I'm inclined to agree. But listen, street fights, bro. I'm undefeated in fucking street fights. Stools, glasses,
Are you?
fucking headbutts. Bro.
Are you undefeated in street fights?
Yeah, unfortunately I am. Yeah, and there's been more than a few. Let me tell you.
Give me the official Bisping street fighting record. Is it like Hickson Gracie, like 500-0? If you had to say your street fight record?
When I was a kid, I'd have 2 or 3 a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you were just that fucking dickhead. You were just ready. Like, the problem is,
I was always ready to throw down, and it was always my mates. They were always starting shit. We're gonna keep it on Jon Jones and make picks, but
sorry.
I was young, and they were always older than me, and they not always then, but most of the time they'd start shit, and then I'd be like, "What, motherfucker? You mess with my mates, you mess with me," and boom, there you go. I was an idiot. I was young. I was dumb. I'm not proud of it, but I was a fucking wild motherfucker when I was young. Let me tell you that. So I've had a lot of street fights, and I know on the street it's a different fucking kettle of fish. Give me DC all day. But anyway, Jones took him out twice. Whenever I think of that, I think, well, I just don't fancy your chances, Dominick Reyes.
Yeah,
for that reason.
I think DC would wipe the floor with Dominick Reyes.
Yeah. I mean, look what fucking DC did to so many heavyweights.
Yeah.
Josh Barnett, Bigfoot Silver. I mean, the fucking list goes on. I forget them all, but that Stipe Miocic. Stipe Miocic knocked him out in the first round that time. Second fight was a great fight. He did lose. They're going to have a trilogy, but you know what I mean? DC's up there, and Jones fucking beat him twice. Convincingly. First time was convincingly. Second time, he knocked him out. Do you know what I'm saying? So just on that alone, of course, Reyes has a chance. Of course, he does switch stances nicely, and he uses up his kicks in a way that'll offer a distraction to Jones so that Reyes can then land that big left hand. and he has a sneaky way of finding the uppercut. The uppercut gets him through as well. But still, all that, he's got a chance. He's got power. He's young. He's undefeated. He's confident. I just don't see. And I hope I eat my words because I like Dominick, and we're getting him on the show on Monday if he wins.
Be a better show.
He's coming on. If he loses, he's not going to fucking come on. He's like, oh, let's get you on the show and talk about that fight that you just lost. You want to do that? He's like, fuck no.
No, he can go on the fighter and the kid if he loses.
I like Lewis.
Only winners on this show, Brandon.
Where are they on the Forbes rich list of podcasts? And where are we? Do we even resonate? Jesus Christ, guys. 100,000 subs by the end of the year. By the way, that's YouTube. How many? We get a fair few downloads.
We get. Well, people are like, dude, how do you only have 6? No, we have hundreds of thousands of people that subscribe via other platforms, but the YouTube is the only one that's visible. Yeah, fine. You know, we're probably not registering in the top 300 even. Probably not the top 3,000. But I'm happy. I don't compare myself to other people. Once you start comparing yourself to other people, guess what? You lost.
Keep it sexy, bro. Keep it sexy. But you're right. See conversation at the start. We're not comparing ourselves to other people. You know, we don't give a damn what they think as long as you do you. You do you. Stay true to yourself. Be who you are. That's what's really cool. Okay? But $30 million a year, that's pretty fucking cool as well. All right, let's make some official picks because little Lucas Bisping needs picking up. I'd like to talk more on this subject. I really would. I'd like to talk to you some more. I really would. I don't sound genuine for some reason, but I really would. But his school's finishing in a minute. Rebecca's in Australia. I really would. No. You know, it's a tempting bet on betdsi.com because the odds are good for Reyes, and I do see a path to victory for him. But I got Jones. I got Jones winning. But if I was putting money on it, I'd definitely put a few bucks on Reyes if I was going to, because there's a chance, and he's a fucking good underdog. He's a massive underdog, so it's worth putting a few bucks on because if it comes off, you're great. And if not, if you can afford to lose $20, $30, whatever, take a shot. Take a shot because it's worth it. Because it's not. It wouldn't be the craziest upset in the world. It wouldn't be the biggest upset in the world. It wouldn't be as big as an upset of me knocking out Rockhold even. And I'll be humble enough to say that. Do you know what I mean? I think he has a shot to win this fight. I wouldn't pick him if you would put a gun to my head. I'd say Jones all day. No, I would. But if you've got some money to waste, you know, an extra $20 lying around, throw it on Reyes because he's got a good chance of doing it.
All right, my pick, I'm picking Jones, obviously. It's crazy. No way Reyes wins this fight. And I do like Dominick Reyes. I would say probably throw the parlay, Valentina, Shevchenko, Jon Jones, and Derek Lewis, all favorites. Harrington, what would that yield me if I threw $100 on that parlay? Valentina, Derek Lewis, and Jon Jones. Yeah, they're all pretty safe.
What's that?
They're all pretty safe. He's going to tell me the odds on it right now, but I just feel like they're all pretty safe. It would be pretty big upsets either way. I'm assuming it's not going to be crazy odds, but I'm assuming you'll more than double your money, right? He's looking it up.
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting one. I'm tempted to do that myself. Yeah, because I've got Jones winning. I've got Shevchenko winning. I've got Black Beast winning. So, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing a fucking parlay.
So, Lewis,
parlay this week.
If you were to put $100 down on that, you would only net a little over $84.
It's almost doubling your money, though. That's a solid, but that's a way better bet than, yeah, fine. I put $100 in Dominick Reyes and I can get back $335, but you might as well just burn $100. It's not happening.
No, it's not. That parlay is not worth it. That parlay isn't worth it. If you put 100 on, you win 84 back, and you got 3 fights in the arts of mixed martial. It's hard, man. That's why a lot of the times I'm not the biggest gambler on fights, because it's so unpredictable, and one shot in those small gloves changes everything. And you've got 3 outcomes, not one, and you don't even double your money.
I'm putting it down. That's a solid bet right there. But you don't, not even double your money. If you think it's going to happen, you think it's going to happen. A better bet would be just putting money on Jon Jones. It's just guaranteed money in the bank almost. Harrington, you're a degenerate gambler. What do you think about this parlay?
Like Mike said, anything can happen with small gloves. 3 fights is too many. If you're willing to bet big to win big, just put it all on Jon Jones. That's what I did with Conor McGregor last month, and I made a bunch of PYM coin on it.
What do you mean bet big to win big? Oh, you mean bet a shit ton of money and then
put it all on Jones?
Yeah, But hold on, isn't Jones like a minus 350 or something favorite? So you'd have to put on $350 just to win 100. So if you put 100 on that parlay, you'd win 84, or you'd only lose 100. You wouldn't lose 300 and odd. So that doesn't make sense either. You know what I'm saying?
It's actually worse than that. It's minus 435 on BetTSI.
Fuck that noise. I'm doing the parlay. If you guys bet with me, trust me, you'll be safe. If you lose your rent money and you go with me, hit me up. I will give you your rent money back. Everything I say on this, Everything I say on the show is a joke. Just know that.
Okay. All right. Well, stick my BYM coin. Oh, my BIM coin. How much BIM coin I got, Harrington? Where we at?
You are at 472. Lewis 400. Myself 544.82.
I'm putting all 400 BIM coin on my parlay. I'm about to fucking win big, baby boys.
All right. I'm gonna put 200 on the same parlay. Okay, but I'm gonna put 100 on Reyes. Hedge the bets, baby boy. Hedging bet.